Hello, and thank you for joining HBCUGO.TV and Tennessee State University for our virtual masterclass series. We feature award-winning broadcasters, directors, production specialists, and many others in the entertainment and communications field. I'm Dr. Ariel Vincent, a professor in the Department of Communications at Tennessee State University. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Grammy Award winner Jermaine Dupri. He's a rapper, songwriter, record producer, entrepreneur, record executive, and DJ. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And if you didn't know, you have to successfully write songs for more than 20 years before even being considered for this nomination. He's worked with and produced for Criss Cross, Mariah Carey, Usher, Jay-Z, Nelly, Monica, Janet Jackson, TLC, Aretha Franklin, Alicia Keys, Jagged Edge, Bow Wow, and so many others that we know and love. Jermaine, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Share with us when you knew you wanted to create music and how you started.
I actually didn't know that I wanted to create my own music. I was trying to be an artist at first, and making records. I was trying to get people to make records for me, and I was trying to get other people to do things that I heard in my ear or in my mind, and I was asking them to do it. And a lot of times it didn't come out the way that I wanted it to come out. It wasn't coming out nothing like I heard it in my head. And that forced me to just say, I need to try to do this myself.
Absolutely. I think that there are so many people who end up in that same place. How did you move forward with your dream?
Well, I had to understand what assets I had in order to do this, right? And I didn't have anything. So all I had was what was in my head, and all I had was what was, what my thoughts were. And I had to find as many little pieces as I could to put together something that was close to the thoughts that was in my head. So initially I found someone who allowed me to go in the studio, and they actually would actually do what I was asking them to do. I wasn't actually touching the equipment. They would touch the equipment, but they actually were doing exactly what I asked them to do. Once I realized that was it, I could make that into something, then I started feeling less, discouraged, if you want to say. I felt less discouraged about actually happening, because at that point then I'm like, okay, so I could produce a record without actually physically touching keyboards and the drum machine, as long as I find someone who can actually listen to me.
Right.
And that actually taught me something else besides the production part of it, but it definitely taught me that when you don't have what you need to get to where you want to go, you have to find people that can help you, and you have to find people that are not engaged in a way where they're looking for something for themselves. They're actually really trying to help you.
Yeah,
right? So that's what that was.
Absolutely. Issa Rae says, reach across, don't reach up. So I think that's something that, all the students can take away from. So we know a little bit about your goal in the beginning. What's your goal right now?
My goal right now is to do everything that I think of.
Okay.
In the past, I have ideas and thoughts that I would never actually really jump on. I would think of them, but I would never move on the thought. And I mean, I'm talking about this in every way of life, love, everything that I've, that I feel like that's the new thing for me to do, is to just like really act on everything that's going through my mind.
Yeah. So you're at a place where you can do that now. Let's talk to, the students or the young people who are just starting out. Can you share 3 important people that artists need in their lives to move their careers forward?
Non-believers, one.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to have people that don't believe in you, because that's the energy that you actually really need. 2, I would say mentors that, if you can have in-person mentors, it'll be amazing. But find somebody that you allow to mentor you from afar, right? Somebody you don't even know, like what they do and what they say and how they display what they're doing. Actually let that mentor you. Actually pay attention to it to a point where it actually gives you the moves and the things that you should do next. And then the third person I would say is just somebody that believes in what you're talking about. It's going to be one person and a million others that don't, but one person probably will believe in you. So if you have one person to believe, a mentor, whether it's an in-person mentor or a far-away mentor, and then you got to have the people that doubt you.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it.
I have so many questions off of that. First, I want to ask, who believed in you?
I think my mother and my father believed in me in so many different occasions. I don't believe that they knew exactly what I was going to be, but I think they just believed that I had the energy to do something, and they believed in that. They believed in the energy that I had.
That's awesome. My next question is a question that a lot of students come to me and ask. It's about, how do you find a mentor?
Well, speaking of ones that I'm talking about, like I feel like Quincy Jones mentored me without me even knowing him. I feel like Teddy Riley mentored me without me even knowing him. I feel like Barry Gordy mentored me without me even knowing these people, because I pay so much attention to them. I think that's what it is. You have to have role models. You have to have people that you really, really look up to, and not just like from a celebrity standpoint, a real paying attention to the way that they do their business, the way that they operate. Russell Simmons was another one that I feel like mentored me, because everything that he had as a company, he made me believe that I could have it. Yeah. I just was too young at the time, but I never let my age, discourage me. I felt like I could get it just like he got it. I felt like he got it at an older age. I could get it at a younger age.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any mentors right now?
I feel like Russell Simmons is still a mentor of mine. I feel like who's my mentor now? I would say that not like those. I don't have anyone that's like those guys, because they did so much. I was talking about, and people ask me, Jermaine, what's your next move, and what keeps you going, and why do you still do what you do?
Yeah,
I think about Barry Gordy, and I think about Barry Gordy went to a bank and he got $800. Right? I'm sure it's people that's watching this right now that if I gave them $800, they would go on Twitter and try to embarrass me, right? They would say, Jermaine gave me $800. He's so cheap and da-da-da-da-da. This guy took $800 and he created Motown Records, and he created the most iconic Black record company that we will ever see,
right?
With $800, right? And at that time, that's all the bank would give him. At the time, I'm sure that wasn't a lot of money, but it was a lot of money for a bank to give a Black man at that particular point in time. But my point is that he took that $800 and he did everything that he was supposed to do with that $800 to create the company that we know today as Motown. And I look at my life and I'm saying, I've had I got way more money than that when I did Crisscross and created So Def, but I have less than Barry Gordy as a company. So I walked that path of just saying, yeah, it's cool to have more, but I want to do more than what I have. So that's my goal.
Yeah. And I think it's always good to always be striving for something and to never plateau.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's my benchmark.
Yeah.
That's a high benchmark.
Absolutely.
Very high. But that's it. I just feel like if somebody could take $800 and create Motown I should be able to take what I have or take what I've gotten and do double that. But I haven't done that yet. So that's my goal.
Absolutely. And sky's the limit. So, what advice do you want to give to young people who are out there listening right now who are looking to begin their career as a writer, a producer, or as an artist?
Don't be scared to work. Like, don't be scared of the steps that it takes to get to where you got to get to. I don't know anyone that's successful without a great story, right? And I mean, a long time success anyway. If you want quick success, then maybe, but a long time success, I don't know anyone that doesn't have a story that they had to go through something that they probably didn't want to go through to get to where they are today or where they want to go. So anyone that's listening and you young, I would encourage you to be an intern at like one of your favorite artist studios. And the intern means that you might not get paid the first time that you go over there. A couple of times you might just have to do things, take out the trash, but in the midst of you taking out the trash, you might run into Jermaine Dupri, or you might run into this person, or you might meet this person. And, a hello is an introduction. They see you one time, they see you again, they see you the next time. It's always something that, you got to use these little pieces to get to where you got to go.
Absolutely. Are you passing out any internships? We can connect afterwards if you have any.
Well, I definitely, I'm getting ready to. I was just thinking about this yesterday when I was looking at us doing this, and I was saying I want a new assistant, right?
Okay.
But I want an assistant that young, with that energy, but that understands what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not trying to make you go get cheesecake or nothing crazy like that. But I just feel like we miss that energy in the music industry. It's not, that energy is not out here anymore, where you see interns turn into these great, amazing people. You hear the stories, but you don't see too much of the new going on. So yeah, I'm definitely going to start looking for an assistant to come into this area and help me out.
I have some rock stars, so when you're ready, you just let me know.
I'm looking for rock stars.
Yes. So I do have a student question that just came in. It's from a student named James. He's a DJ out in Arizona. He wants to know, what's the relationship between focusing on social media versus the music? So I guess he really wants to know, do you think that they're equally important, music and social media?
Well, one of them, no, they're not equally. Well, they are equally as important, but one of them has more value than the other. And focusing on the music has more value than the other. Social media, the thing I say about social media is this: we can't control social media. And I don't think that people think at one day. I mean, I see companies every day creating companies based on Instagram, right? Just based on Instagram. And I be thinking, what's going to happen if Instagram shuts down? Just
true.
If Instagram shuts down right now, 70% of Black people making money in the last 2-3 years it's gonna be over with. And I don't think people even think like this, but I think like this because I've seen the wave before. We had MySpace, they're gone, right? We had a bunch of different sites that was like, MySpace was crazy and it was popping, and you have to. I think that you have to create something that's a little bit more sturdy than somebody else's platform, because if like I said, if Instagram disappears, what are we gonna do, people? What is the next plan? What is our plan of attack if Instagram goes away? And people probably looking like, Instagram's not going away. Listen, you never know, man.
Right, absolutely. So I think, that brings up another question. What are some challenges that new artists, producers, or writers should be aware of?
Um, Now in this climate now, I
Mhm.
would say that um be don't be closed minded, which I see more young producers and writers actually working together and creating together. So, but even the ones that are not in, those that are not in that's trying to get in, that you should try to befriend writers, befriend producers, even if you're a producer,
Mhm.
befriend another producer and go by and check out that producer while they're working with other people. Like when I first started producing, Dallas Austin was like the guy that I was watching. We both from College Park, we both friends, and he was working on Boys to Men and AB. I think he was working on Boys to Men at the time. And I would go by the studio and watch him create this record
Mhm.
and use that energy as my inspiration to go home and make music. And what he was doing, how he did. I was telling Ann Clemens this last night. Dallas had a programmer and an engineer. And Jermaine Dupri had nothing. And I was looking at that like, man, I got to get me an engineer. Damn, I need a programmer too. But I don't have no money. I don't have nothing. So I was forced to become my own programmer because I didn't have any means of getting somebody to work for me. And then every chance I got, I tried to find an engineer because this was the look that I thought I wanted. This was the sound I wanted, and everything looked like it was going so smooth. So I feel like you have to be inspired by someone, and it's nothing wrong with going to celebrate somebody else's success. It let them show you the shine, let them show you what it looks like, let them show you how it feels, so you want that taste even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just like you mentioned, you've done so many things, writing, producing, you've been an artist, you've been a DJ, a television executive, you've been a show creator. What's your favorite thing to do?
Just create, just to create something. um that's it, just creation. I'm not scared of starting at one. People always want to get to 10, but they don't realize that you have to start over at one. Even like when you count, no matter how high you get, it always goes back to one,
Yeah.
like regardless, right? And I heard TD Jake say this one day, and I was just like, yeah, and you can't be afraid, because a lot of people get to 10 and they try to figure out a way to maintain 10
Mhm.
and never have to, and they're scared to go back to one. I'm never afraid to go to one.
Wow. And I think that leads into also, you can't be afraid of failure. You always have to try whatever you want to try and hope that you make it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, you one has to, one, two, three, and four of creating has to be fun to you,
Hmm.
and then if those, I'm saying, once you get to 10, you're in a hurry to get back to one, two, and three, and four. I know I
Awesome.
am always.
Yeah. So let's see. I just found out a couple of questions are coming in. So let's ask one of our student questions.
Okay.
So Mark Davis Jr., he wants to know, what advice would you give to people aspiring to manage artists?
Um, do it, but understand what it means. Understand what that job is 100% all the way through. Find a manager that that can mentor you so that you understand what it is, because managerial job is a risky job at some time. You know what I mean? The managers um sometimes the managers are they're getting away, or they're trying to be the star, whatever it is. So you gotta, you see a lot of people get managers and they switch managers a lot. That's
Right.
why the manager job is not an easy job. So you have to get some information on it.
Absolutely.
One second.
Okay. In the meantime, we can pop up the next student question just so we'll be ready.
All right, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
All right.
So we have another question from the Fox that rocks the box. It says, "Is the radio platform still important to you?"
Yes. And I'm just sure you're gonna know why, but yes, it is. I believe in hit records, and I believe in the moments of radio, right?
Mhm.
I never seen anyone scream and go wake up their house when they hear their record on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
People scream, jump out the car, run down the street,
that's
call
true.
their mother, call all of their friends when the first time their record's on the radio.
Yeah.
That is something in itself. What is that moment? Why do you feel like that? Why does radio make you feel like that? And to this day, radio still makes artists feel like that. All of these artists that are on the internet and they claim they're underground and they claim they're independent, that one time when they hear their record on a radio station that they've listened to their whole life, or their mother listened to, whatever it is, or however they feel,
Mhm.
that feeling that you get when you hear your record on the radio is irreplaceable. That's why I feel like it's very important.
Absolutely. So the music business continues to change. It's an ever-changing business. Do you think that you're adapting to it? Are you making changes?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I always adapted to it because I create artists that are younger.
Mhm.
So you almost have to watch what I'm doing or what the artists are doing so you can adapt, because my artists have always been, since the test of time, beginning of So Def, they always been young.
Mhm.
They always been under, majority of them been under their 20s. So that usually is the road to what's the future. I mean, what's getting ready to happen. Even like the rap game, when people watch the rap game, the show was about young kids
Mhm.
and their careers and how long they have to become somebody and how long of a career they can actually have because they was on the show at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, speaking of that, last month you worked with a couple others to write a song called Change. I just want to show a little bit of that song.
Okay.
But still, we can't just give in. We must stand tall and live strong. It's up to the youth to live on.
And carry this torch we pass down. You see, I know it's not the last round. In the next generation, my faith is unwavering.
My confidence in you is unshakable, because I know that you're willing and far beyond capable of doing all that must be done. But to do it all, we must be as one.
Life can be better than most of us dream.
Yeah.
So once you take the reins, believe in your greatness which lies within.
And for the better, this world would change.
I see that you want it. I see that you're working for it. So don't take no days off. It's gonna pay off. I see that you love it. I want you to know that before you can see it, you gotta believe it.
You're the generation of tomorrow.
The pursuit of today, and all time is borrowed. So you have done the way.
You are not,
You are not,
oh, I repeat,
you are not, Put on the shirts and lose. And you are hot, yeah, I repeat it, but you are hot, so do what you do. And we gon' do it big, we gon' make a scene. We gon' take the doubters, make them all believe. We gon' be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking average, chasing legend status. We can have the world, we can have it all. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. We can be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking average, chasing legend status. Oh, no. I see that it's in your heart. I see that it's in your heart. I feel it, I feel your desire.
It only takes one spark. It only takes one spark to set it on fire.
You're the generation of tomorrow, but the work starts today.
Such an amazing song, an amazing video. I love listening to this song. You know, that song was featured on the Pro Biden Harris I Will Vote concert. What made you want to write change?
Honestly, I just was watching what was going on, and I kept hearing a lot of younger artists say that I was their era of this person and their era is this person. And I was like, well, if I'm that person, what would that person be doing in this time right now? And they would create a song that would be a powerful record. They would reach out to artists and try to get them to do it. And try to create something creative that makes you think and also goes along with what we're dealing with in the world. And that's all I did. I just tried to do my part. You know what I mean? You know, you don't really know what it can do until you do it. Like I said before, this would have been a thought in my past that I thought about and I wouldn't have acted on it. But just I acted on it and just was like, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Well, we're grateful for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did you select a team? You know, you worked with Jonte Austin, Brian Michael Cox, Neo. How did you, just decide for them to join you?
Well, Jonte and Neo had a versus battle that everybody watched, and I felt like the response to that was amazing. It'd be even more incredible if I put them two together and write a song. They never wrote a song together. And I thought that would show incredible strength for me as the writers of the song to have these two giants write as well as me and B Cox do the music. So that was the first idea. I wanted the bottom part of the building to be extremely strong. And from there, once I reached out to artists, I wanted to be able to tell them that, like, look, I got these two writers, me and Brian Cox, we did this song. We want you to be a part of it. It's not going to be an easy record to get done because studios weren't open when I first tried to do it. A lot of people didn't have home studios. Just a bunch of different things, just, because it was at the top of the COVID, pandemic. So it was a little tough to get done. And it was a lot of times I was discouraged by the fact that me reaching out to this person and they couldn't do it or they wanted to do it, or it was just like something too difficult. And I was like, I know how much easier this would be if the pandemic wasn't here, right? So just even that, like moving through that and just pushing through, it was just like, but you can't stop. You got to figure it out, JD. Like, it's a great idea that you had. Don't let this idea go to the back of your head and it's just sitting there and you like, yo, if I would have did this back when 2020, So I didn't want to have that. So I just kept trying to figure it out. Every time I got an obstacle, I just went around that obstacle. Absolutely.
We love it. So who created the idea for the video?
The video idea came from the Biden and Harris administration team, basically, because everybody had to do some type of live situation for that concert. So everybody created their own thing. With this song having all the artists in different places, this was basically the only thing that we could possibly do was try to create what you actually see.
Yeah.
I think it came out dope. It's like that's our live performance, which ended up looking like a video as opposed to an actual live performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we loved it. We love to see it. Yeah. We have a couple other student questions that are coming in, so let's take a couple more of those. Let's see. Dr. Cherie Ward wants to know, has the changing of FCC laws impacted the use of language in your lyrics? And if so, how?
FCC laws ratings for music impacted the use of language. No, I don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I don't. I never think about any of that type of stuff, really. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that I have ever been a person that uses language in an excessive type of way. So I don't think that my music ever would be even looked at from that perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do we have another question? Let's see. Rashawn Haynes, who is a graduating senior from Tennessee State University, she wants to know, yes, how has the pandemic affected your business?
Tremendously. You know, from tour, like when the pandemic started, I was on tour with Bow Wow and Omarion. They had just started their tour the second week of the tour. We was actually in New York the week that they shut the city down. Like, so Bow Wow had a performance at Madison Square Garden at the Garden, and then we went to Philly the next day. And I think that the next day or next 2-3 days, New York got shut down, and then other places were being shut down. And we was in, I think we went from Philly to DC, and luckily the fact that we was on tour and we was on a tour bus, so we can get on the tour bus and we can move amongst ourselves, that we didn't really have to deal with it. And we was hearing about the pandemic, but we weren't thinking that it was going to be. We was hearing about the virus, rather, and not thinking that it was going to be what it turned out to be. And
right.
We came back home that week from doing those shows, and after that, the whole tour got canceled. As a DJ, doing residencies and doing parties in different cities and going to do, whatever it is that events, all of those things got shut down. So you had to learn, like, you had to figure out Zoom calls. You had to figure out Zoom, period. I'd never been on Zoom at all before the pandemic. Yeah. So like everything just happened to be, you just had to shift and you had to become a part of the shift. And so, yeah, it definitely affected all of the business. Everybody's business is affected. That's one of the things I hate about this whole pandemic, is that people are still trying to act like they cool and like they're like everything is all right. Like, it's no way possible that everything is all right. It's okay to say, or it's okay to not show that everything is okay, because it's not. It's no way possible everything is okay, because who was prepared for this? No one's prepared for this, and nobody's ever seen this. So to be acting like you too cool for school and you can't be bothered and it's all good is just completely wrong.
Absolutely. I agree. It's definitely been an adjustment for everyone.
Yeah.
But we're making it and we're figuring it out, and hopefully, by 2021 things will be better. Fingers crossed.
I feel like this was not just wherever this came from, it also was a time for a shift, because I feel like we live in a country where people are so comfortable with things the way that they are that they don't understand that it can shift. And you should never get so comfortable that you don't believe that it can shift. That's why I'm saying the same thing I said about Instagram. And just in case that Instagram goes down, what are you gonna do if it does?
Yeah.
One day they like, we lost our program and we can't do nothing. You can't do what you're gonna do. Call Instagram?
Right.
You don't even have nothing to do with Instagram. That's what I'm saying. So now it's like, oh, my whole business, I gave it to Instagram, they went down. So then you're just gonna be sitting around for a year confused. Like, I would put a little bit more into something else to make sure that you have a stable foundation.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I think we have one more student question. Naya Knight wants to know what's on the horizon for So So Def.
Well, I mean, So Def, we just released this Change record that y'all just seen. And I got a new artist by the name of LA the GOAT that I just signed. He's from Tampa, Florida. And continuously just making music. I'm in the studio with almost everybody right now. Like, I'm trying to be in the studio with everybody. But yeah, just constantly making music. I'm gonna continue to keep doing what I do. Like I said, my route to my happiness is to create.
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren Turner Bryant had a question. She wants to know if you could work with any artist right now, who would it be and why?
Whoever the next genius is, that's who I don't even know who that is, but whoever that is, that's who I want to work with. And the reason why is because it's time for us to have a new Michael Jackson, new Prince, one of these people. Somebody has to fill that spot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of artists, a lot of great artists, a lot of amazing artists, but those two spots have still not been filled. And I would love to work with that person.
Yeah, that makes sense. I believe in that. Let's see. So just talk to us a little bit about the importance of giving back to your community. What does it mean to you?
Well, my community, it means everything, because I feel like Atlanta, where I'm from, moves to the beat of that drum more than anybody. And it's important to be a part of the city. It's important to be a part of the community. It's important to understand the city and community, because it's a value that other people don't have. It's crazy because when I watch what's going on the whole election and throughout this whole pandemic and everything that's happened this whole year, Georgia has been one of the most talked about places. Atlanta's been so talked about. When I made Welcome to Atlanta wasn't even this talked about. I made that record so that you would talk about the city. But now the city's being talked about so much more than it was when I made the song. But and the reason why is because I know my mayor. You know what I'm saying? The mayor knows me, and she knows other people in the community, and she knows other people that and we can say things to her. And we can say, I know the governor too. We can say stuff to them too. We have a meeting with them, and they're not scared to have a meeting, and I feel like other places should take that and apply that to their society and their community, and we'll see a lot more change than we actually are seeing. A lot of these cities that have a lot of this police brutality is like, it's nobody, the community is not talking to each other, to me. It shouldn't be happening, of course, but it also should be some communication between, different races, different people, all of this. And I don't see it as much as it happens in this city. So to me, it feels like something that I was just brought up into. I grew up feeling like I wanted to be a part of the community because it's just around me.
Yeah. What can students do to, get involved and be a part of that conversation, in your opinion?
Go to things. One of the most interesting things that I don't think people understand is that a lot of the stuff that's political and decision-making processes, we don't go to. We want to see a lot of things change, and we want to talk all this, and we want to tweet all of this. But if you go to actually one of these events where something is actually happening and people are trying to make changes and people are making decisions, just go to one and see how many people you see that look like you, And this goes for everything. This goes for music. This goes for the Grammys. This goes for ASCAP. This goes for, like I said, the presidential elections. I mean, I went to the Democratic debates at Tyler Perry's studio, and I wanted to go because I never went before. I always seen it on TV, and I wanted to see what it looked like, especially because it was at Tyler Perry's, and I got an opportunity to go. I went by myself, and when I got in there, I realized how many of my peers were not there. Nobody. Nobody was there. Not a T.I., not none of these people. Like everybody we talk about, whatever, we all are in the mix. But this one particular time when I went to this, I was really surprised because I'm like, man, like how much do we really care? Like, do we care only when it starts getting close and we have to start really caring at that point? Or do we really, really care? Like, so to answer your question, I feel like people need to ask themselves first, do they really care?
Right.
And then get involved. Like if you look, like I said, from being from here, I get to see it from a different perspective. Like Martin Luther King was young when he was being in politics or wanted to be in politics and try to change. He was a young man. He wasn't like 50, 60 years old. He was 20 years old. You know what I mean? And all of his counterparts was basically the same. Andy Young, all of these guys, they were young in the streets, fighting and going to jail and doing everything that they was doing. They were doing this at a young age. And I feel like we need more of that. We need more of young people that really care enough to get involved with this at a younger age, as opposed to paying attention to it right once it gets to the election.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what's going on, right? It's and that's what I'm saying. Like here in Atlanta, when it's a mayor coming up or it's a governor or any of that, it's people here that's way more educated than me that reach out to me and start educating me and let me know what's going on. And they like, Jermaine, you should get involved. You should start talking, or you should come to this, or you should meet us at this and da 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 da. And you should, if you're interested, if this is a real interest of yours, you should go.
Yeah. And I think it's important, like you said, you don't only have to vote for who's going to be our next president, the mayor, the governor, the judges. There are so many people that we're voting for or should be voting for.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you have any, resources that people can, just start educating themselves?
About applying to what though?
Just, applying to voting and, getting involved with the community. All the above.
Like I said, I don't consider myself the smartest guy in that neck of the woods, but I just listen, and to what interests me, I'm there for, and I feel like that's the biggest part of it. Like if you're interested. And by the way, it's not enough of us young African Americans in none of these rooms. So therefore you will be heard. If you go, if you feel like you're not going to be heard and you feel like you're not going to be seen, that's not true. If they allow you to be in there, you're going to be one of maybe 4 or 5. It's not a bunch of people even in. It might be one of you, just one of you. You go and you're going to see nobody that's your peers or counterparts. So, you should go. If it interests you, you should start trying to, and they're open to this, by the way, because they don't have enough of this energy. They need this young energy and they want to hear from people. And that's like, I know, recently I posted a picture of me and Biden and a picture of me and Kamala on Instagram. And I seen a lot of weird comments and people saying things. And I'm just like, it's crazy that people can comment about things and talk about people, but you don't actually know these people.
Right.
Like if you don't have a conversation with these people, all you know is what you hear. I actually have had a conversation with these people, sat beside them and actually talked, and they asked me questions, right? And if somebody asks you a question, then you're engaging a conversation, and you can get to better understand a person and decide from that point. And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand, especially when you're looking at me. And other people, maybe that's different, but if you're looking at me, you got to take that into consideration, that I'm not just getting behind people and saying it because everybody else is doing it. I actually had a conversation with these people. Right.
I think social media is interesting. It makes people feel like they're allowed to say anything.
Yeah. I mean, and that's cool. And I mean, you should be able to say anything, but you also have to understand that goes back to the guy's question about the music and social media. Like, shaking somebody's hand and actually looking at them and actually talking to them is a lot different than tweeting them. You know, it's a much different exchange.
Absolutely. We are going to start wrapping up. We have two, questions for you. We appreciate you and all your time. The last student question is, what was it like when you received your first Grammy nomination?
I don't think I got excited. I don't think I was really excited because I didn't believe that I could win. Because of where I came from anyway. I always felt like I was 19 years old and Crisscross was the group. And I just felt like the industry hadn't seen me before in such a long time. They hadn't seen a young person headstrong, a young person with their mind in the right space. And the respect level for what I was doing wasn't where it was supposed to be. And I felt it. So I wasn't really like, oh, I'm going to win. Or, you know what I mean? I was excited. I was excited to go and finally be a person that was at the Grammys and nominated. But even myself, like I said, probably because it was Crisscross and it wasn't actually me, but I wrote it and I produced it. So I felt it. So, but it didn't really faze me like it probably should have.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. And then I guess our last question, we've heard so much from you. We're soaking in so much information from you, but do you have any last minute advice for students or for anyone who's out there listening?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, don't be scared to climb the ladder to get to where you got to go. It's actually, the ladder actually works. It's called the ladder for a reason. It actually works. As long as you climb it, it actually works. Like I said, you'll meet somebody walking out the door. You'll meet somebody as you sit down. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just be in the space. You know what I mean? That saying, the right place at the right time is a true statement. And all people have to do is just like take their energy to where they want to be. Like I said, if you want to make records, then go intern at a studio. And if the studio is a popular studio where a lot of your famous rappers and artists and singers are, then you'll meet one of them. And one of them people will look at you and be like, yo, I like how you taking care of this studio. Could you come take care of mine? And that little engagement or exchange could turn into a whole lifeline of just a whole career. You never know. So I would just say, like, really, really apply yourself and don't shortchange yourself by thinking you're being shortchanged.
Absolutely. JD, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your knowledge. Also, all the students out there listening, go follow JD on Instagram because he is looking for an assistant. And hopefully, we'll be able to get together and find you someone amazing.
Word up. All right.
So thank you for tuning into our virtual masterclass series. Again, I'm Dr. Ariel Vincent. To watch more content from our virtual masterclass series, head to hbcugo.tv, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Believe in your greatness which lies within.
And for the better, this world would change.
I see that you want it. I see that you're working for it. So don't take no days off. It's gonna pay off. I see that you love it. I want you to know that before you can see it, you gotta believe it.
You're the generation of tomorrow.
The pursuit starts today. And all time is borrowed. So you have learned the ways.
You are not, oh, I repeat,
You are not put on the search to lose. And you are hot. Yeah, I repeat it, that you are hot. So do what you do. And we gon' do it big. We gon' make a scene. We gon' take the doubters, make them all believe. We gon' be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking average, chasing legend status. We can have the world. We we can have it all. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. We can be the change that we wanna see. We're not taking leverage, chasing every status. Oh no. I see that it's in your heart. I see that it's in your heart. I feel it. I feel your desire.
It only takes one spark. It only takes one spark to set it on fire.
You're the generation of tomorrow. But the work starts today.